Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So we have already talked to a few people about the Cosmostatistics Initiative, and today I'd like to share with you just more how we work. So this is, you have our web page on the bottom. You can check all the products. We have papers and codes and all the products that we have already produced in 1 year of existence. COIN was founded in April last year. So you can check that and see if any of those are interesting to you. We are happy to talk to you about it. But today I would like to talk to you more about how we organize and why we decided at some point that this should be a good thing to do. So the title of my talk, as it is in the program, says Methodology and Software for Cosmology, which, following astronomy tradition, we tend to make up very nice names and stick to it for tradition instead of accuracy. So the point is, COIN started as a cosmology thing, but now it could be more astronomy. We are not only stuck to cosmological issues. We have all kinds of areas in astronomy where we have some kind of project on. And when I say methodology and software, this is the end. This is the product that we have, but that's not our goal. Our goal is high-end education. I didn't know how to phrase that well, but what I mean is we want to make it normal and standard for astronomers to use in their daily research life. Cutting-edge statistics methods and tools and whatever. So we cannot, the point is, the world is probably not very Gaussian in most of the problems that we work on, and chi-square will not save the day in the end. So the point is to make these things useful, and not only useful, but make people comfortable in using them, and actually not make them black boxes, but provide environment where astronomers can actually understand the tools they are using. So COIN now has 50 researchers from almost 15 countries. This is it's a bit unupdated, but it's pretty much the projects and tools that we have at this point. Our long-term goal, I would say, would be this is like a dream world, right? In the best case scenario, we'd like to establish astrostatistics as a discipline on its own. We think that in the end of the tunnel, we should have astrostatistics PhD programs and institutes and PhD programs which would enable astronomers to work very closely to statisticians, and not only using the tools that statisticians develop, but presenting astronomical problems that the statisticians are not very familiar to, and use that to develop new statistical methods as well. So, but this is the end of the corner. We only 1 year old, so actually our short-term goal is just make them understand each other. And the very important thing, they have to do that while they are making science. Our main core of members are postdocs, and our goal is to feel that you're learning something, and at the same time make sure they're not feel like they're losing time. Because if you're a postdoc and you need a job, you're not writing a paper, you're probably going to feel that you are losing time. So we need to avoid that. So we want them to work together while they produce science and do that. So in the ideal world, we want them to have fun together and be friends, but actually it starts something like that, which is very difficult we are more in that stage actually, but we are trying to evolve from that. Okay, so when we are going to do this kind of collaboration, when we start to think about collaborating at this level, the first thing we have to do is respect each other in one of the most profound way. And one thing we have to understand is that statisticians love R as we love Python. And you're not going to change that. if you want to collaborate with them, you have to respect that, and you have to understand that many times you are going to be willing to, yes, understand a few codes in R, even though you don't need to use that in your daily life. And from their side, it's the same thing. Like, they have to be open to talk in a language that they are not used to, and get used to some Python stuff that we love so much. In that sense, Coin tries to be bilingual as most of the time. So if you see the web page that I told you before, you see that almost half of what is there is not Python. So we have almost everything. We have a Python version, have an R version, because we need everybody to understand what's going on. We had a meeting at our first face-to-face meeting was in May 2014 during the IAU Symposium in Lisbon. We got people together our idea was to talk to them for 30 minutes and says, okay, do you want to do this or not? Like, are people willing to do this? And instead of doing that, we spent 1.5 hours deciding if we're going to do that in Python. So we came to the conclusion that it would be easier to make things bilingual than convincing people to go one way of the other. And it's working fine up to this point. So how does it work? There's only basic 2 ways where a coin project can be born and produce something. So we have a pool of people that said, okay, I'm interested in this idea and I would like to collaborate with different people from statistics, computer science, and astronomers and machine learning experts. And then we look at these people like me or Rafael or anyone who has access to the database and said, oh, these people might work together, and we propose a project, and if they want to accept, they accept, and we try to develop, to answer some scientific questions based on expertise of each one involved. The other way around is that one of our members can come to us and say, oh, I have this scientific problem that I want to solve. Could you find someone who could deal with this kind of data or this kind of errors? So these are basically the 2 ways. Obviously, we have a limited number of people and specialists, but we try as most as we can to bring people together and do this intermediate conversation between them. So we work basically in small groups. So you will see in the web page that I think the largest number of authors we have on paper is 8 or 10, something, more or less like that. So why is that? Because that is important, so you can recognize people's work. If you develop a code, or if you interact with us to develop something new, your name will be on a paper which you can put in your CV with a low number of authors. So it's easier to get recognized for what you're doing. And if you look at the bottom of the web page that I give you, that has the GitHub repositories of all the members that contributed to the project. So you can go in their GitHub account and actually, if you are in a committee or something, actually go there and see which people did in each project. We have we have a large diversity of people. We have from graduate students to senior professors. We try always to have at least one specialist in each area necessary. We try to make things as jargon-free as possible. So this is just an extract of an email. I was trying to talk to some guy from machine learning, and you see that redshift should be distance because I had no idea what redshift is, and he has no idea who Sloan is, so it should be telescope 1 and telescope 2 for Sloan and DES, and he has no idea what spectra is, so I have to tell him what a training and a test set is. So almost all our emails are exchanges like that. If you don't understand the main, you will probably understand what is within the parentheses, and this is a way of trying to educate people to break the jargon barrier. And in the end, as I said, we really want them to feel they are not losing their time. They will have credit and could be recognized for the work they're doing. So our goal is that in the end of every project, if you work and interact with us, we will have a paper. Because we start with a scientific question, right? So in the end, you will have a paper. And looking at what you guys have said from these days, I would call these ambassadors. Because what I mean is, I can make a very nice methodology paper, and I have the best, photometric redshift ever, right? But if I don't have a person, a specialist, who is very active in the photometric redshift community, that's never going to be used, right? Because they have their own already, and they are already using it, it's working fine. So this ambassador serves like, okay, we have this bunch of statistics and computer science and whatever specialists, but at least one or two of the members of this paper are going to be someone who is actually going to spread the word among the scientific community who is potentially a potential user of that method or of that code. And obviously we have only one basic rules regarding everything we do. Everything should be public, right? So everything you can find on GitHub, or all the papers are public, and everything should be open source. So with this idea, so I said, oh, there's something wrong with my screen, but that should be the first summer residence program, for the lack of a better name. We did that, so in May we decided that we're going to do it, and the people in Lisbon were kind enough to provide us a venue for our first meeting. Oh, just one very important comment. This is done with a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of very nice people, and absolutely zero money, right? So we have nothing. So the people in Lisbon were kind enough. They said, okay, we will host your conference. The point is, when some funding agency says that he's going to provide you accommodation, they mean they will give you hotels. And we didn't want a hotel, we want a house on the beach. So that was very difficult. So in the end, we have to decide, and we ended up in an apartment downtown Lisbon. It was okay. So this was an apartment, a 5-bedroom apartment, and all of these people were there. We had all these people in the computers that you said. It was remote participants who could not be online, but they were with us almost 24/7 for a whole week. And as I said, for the results of this, so these are the 3 main projects that went out as a result of that meeting in August. So it was 1 week that we were there, and we did this too. Obviously, as every parent, I'm proud of my youngest child. So as I told you yesterday that I would give you some paper regarding the Cosmo ABC code, the paper is now is today on AstroPH, so you can grab that. And I would ask you if you could all, not now, but whenever you have some time, take the PDF, because I promised you a picture that where you could control. Take the PDF, download it, open with Adobe Reader or something like that, and then you can come here and actually, obviously it's not going to work. Yeah, so whatever, forget it. But just let me know if you can do that afterwards, okay? So what happens is, I'm not sure how should I do this. But what happens is that if you take the PDF, you would be able, you would open it in Adobe, you would be able to use the controls to go through the snapshots that I showed you yesterday. So just let me know if that happens. And then, okay, so we have a second program for, we have this year the support of the Imperial College in London, but this is organizing these meetings is like an organizational nightmare, because they said, okay, we'll host you. So they gave us a house, because this time we asked specifically for a house. And I don't know where it's going to be, because I still want a house on the beach, right? We're going to try that. So we have no idea where it's going to be. We have no idea when it's going to be, because we don't decide the dates, people decide the dates. We have no idea who is going to participate, because we only have space for 10 or 12 people. So we took our members, sent a survey and said, please doodle this and tell me when you can do this. And then we have a list of 5 or 6 projects. They vote in what project will be developed. And so we don't know the participants. We don't even know the topic of the meeting. But it's going to happen somewhere in the second semester, somewhere in the UK. Just to finish, so what's next for this? There's there has been some very recent recognition of astrostatistics as a field of its own. So on November, we have the Symmetry magazine, which is a particle physics magazine, talking about the rise of astrostatistics. In December last year, there was astrostatistics special in Significance magazine, which is the statistical magazine for the Royal Statistical Society. And there was a bunch of articles on that. We did one of those, which is a recognition that statisticians are actually looking at astronomical data as good source of statistical research. And there's going to be in July, in the World Statistical Congress, a session on astrostatistics, which we are also going to be represented there. So, and you can see for this graph, this is data from ADS, like all the names and how their frequency is going with time. The yellow one there is machine learning, which has been very, very popular these days. And I would just only like to remember as a last comment that all of this is because astronomy is still inspiring. So we have to, many times we think that astronomy is inspiring when you are young and you think you're going to look at the telescope in the day you become an astronomer, but that's not true. But our experience is that even very experienced researchers in other areas are really happy to collaborate if they know they're going to be working in astronomy, because for some reason it's still romantic and it's still very inspiring for everyone. So that's what I think I have to tell you, and please talk to us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any questions for Emily?
I just wanted to, so I went to the website that you listed there. I thought it was very nice that you have a DOI on that. And I'm wondering if having a DOI on more projects would be a very good thing, so that people don't necessarily have to, because a DOI can resolve to whatever you want. And so it can resolve to like a website, it can resolve to paper, and I think that's a citable thing.
Yes.
We've been talking a lot about how you can reference in a paper, how you can reference things like that. Seems a bit weird for websites, but DOI seems quite acceptable.
Yes.
I think it's just really nice that you've got that right at the top of your webpage.
Yes, yeah, we have to do that because, as we said, it's very important. Most of these people, they work in large collaborations. They have experience in doing that. And at some point, it's very frustrating because you don't actually get recognized for what you do. So we try the most that we can to make things citable or and give recognition for people who actually do this stuff, which is very, very difficult. And I have to say that when you do this kind of thing, you also have to, like, for example, the DOI or the web page and something that they can put on their portfolio if they're going to leave science, because many of them will. And what we have already is a lot of people who tells us, okay, I have to leave astronomy, I don't want to, but I have to, but can I keep working with you? Because then I could still do astronomy some way. So it's more than one case that we have already with that experience.
So I guess my question is, like, when you have these, when you did the residence program before, in the long term, do you see this as a way to bring together people who don't know each other?
Yes.
Because I guess you could also have the same group of people meeting up, or you could have organize several ones happening, at the same time, with different people who've never met.
Yeah. So yes, I think the important thing about the summer programs is that as our main goal is to produce papers and to produce scientific outcome, you have to trust people. So I can know you from a conference or something, but I don't know if you are weird. I don't know if you, I don't know if you reply to emails, which is very important when you're doing a paper. I don't know how quick you are to solve some last-minute problem. So this summer residence program is something like to put them together for a week, and you have a clear idea if you like that person or not. And then after that, things really evolved. So, and one in that, even I wouldn't say in person, I would say personally, because even the participants that were online, were working with us from Brazil or from the US or other places in Europe, they feel this connection because it started there, and in the end, the paper was done. So So you get some quite confidence that, this is kind of people that I can work, and I can spend my time on this project because it's going to be finished. So yes, I think that's one of the crucial things for this kind of thing to work.
Any last questions? Okay, if not, let's thank Emily again.